Good day, my dear ones. It is always, always a pleasure to spend time with you, always. Man, we had one heck of a level 1 class. I had a lot of fun. You guys are something else, boy. We had a lot of fun. It's a good class, I thought. Now, every class is a little different, but we always have fun, in my opinion, in these classes. I always enjoy each and every one of you. In the future, boy, everything that's going on. The Costa Rican project, we're starting all kinds of neat things. I mean, I can't even tell you. It's just neat stuff. We're working more to help each and every one of you that want to be practitioners. We're working to set up some training for that. We're going to have, we talked about a major seminar. Remember I said I want a major seminar where we can all come together? Well, now we're all on board with that, and so I think we're going to do one at least once a year. And we will have classes that you can attend at this seminar. We can have, of course, speakers at the seminar. I'd like creative arts, all you musicians out there. Yes, 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 we need some creative arts for this seminar. How about creative arts, arts-wise? Absolutely. You guys that are artists, that are painters or whatever, just beautiful things. We want to have a nice art room to show higher consciousness art and just show the light and beauty in what can be done to this planet and the expression that can come out of this planet. So exciting stuff. And I just love those seminars. Done them for years, and you just have good times, and you get to meet everybody. So generally they're, say, Friday, Saturday, and a half a day Sunday, like a 2.5 day thing, but we'll do it at Orlando Convention Center, where you might come down and want to go to the parks. There's all kinds of parks and fun stuff, up there in Orlando. Boy, I tell you, these Swiss Army knives are good. Thank you, dear one. Send me this Swiss Army knife that was a Swiss Army knife of all Swiss Army knives. Thank you so much, love. Thank you for the birthdays and everything else. Thank you so much. Just love you all. Just love you all. Thanks so much. I apologize. I haven't been time to get here, but when class is coming, there's just a lot of work involved, and then a lot of energy goes into that class for me. And so when it's done, I have a little week of an R&R, and then I see the students and stuff. So last week, it just seemed like I could get, actually this week, it just seemed like I get caught up. All right, so what I want to do is start, let me see if there's anything I need to talk about here. Look at how pretty this card is. Is that not beautiful as all get out? This is what we have to do, is make this world beautiful. And only we can do it. Those spiritual people like yourselves and stuff, you can do that. Hey, man. I love you. I love you. Thanks. Thanks. Let's see what this is. Give me a call on the computer. I don't know what that's for. Okay, so let's get some. I tell you what, I can't even tell you how rewarding it is to change people's lives to the good. And each one of you are helping in your way to spit that hand out there and help someone in need. I mean, it's just really rewarding. And you have to fix yourselves too. So don't forget the self. But put that hand out too and help others. It'll actually make a channel out of you. Because when you start giving, it just starts using you. And then you just start becoming more and more a giver. And that energy comes flowing through you even greater. It's an old saying that you have to give to get. How interesting. How interesting are the laws of creation and how the Creator set all this up. Cool stuff. I mean, it just makes you a God lover. This is from Sky. Hi, Dr. Morse. To continue to follow your videos. Thanks, Sky. The knowledge you have shared is, thanks. Thanks a whole bunch. I really do appreciate that. No ego intended. I love you guys. That's what we're here for. We're here to open these doors and lift this planet up a little bit. And those souls, because there's a lot of souls going to be going on here. You're ending cycles here a lot, and you notice that this is the time where God awareness is being really blanketed across the land. There are plenty of souls that are journeying in these worlds that will recycle and recycle and recycle. There's the beginners are coming, new souls just coming to this area, but there's plenty of you older souls that are here to bring the light and then to step away and leave. And plenty of you that have been spinning here for a while, time to go. You know, there's higher, neater, beautiful, incredibly, I don't even know how to describe it. Just incredible beauty and ecstasy and joy of all the God worlds. I don't even, there's freaking no words. I am also hoping you can help my dog and chronic ear infections. All right, case. This is the case history. He's a 7-year-old male Chihuahua that weighs 11 pounds. I have a little mini Chihuahua. She's a Chihuahua Chipurkey, all white. I'll show you to her. So she's just such a love. Smart as all get out, these dogs. He has a chronic ear infections in both ears for 5 years. His right ear is more problematic. He also started developing hot spots from mid to lower back last November. The inflamed area radiates from the spine and outwards. This March he developed a new hot spot, but it may be a ringworm on his left abdomen. Well, you know, you gotta go after their kidneys and adrenal glands. Remember, infection is really talking about acid sewage. You want something infectious. Don't think about bacteria, because that's what eats infectious stuff. Think about acid sewage. Sewage from the cells as being toxic and sewage. I mean, because that's what sewage is. Sewage is your poop or pee, right? That's your sewage. Well, what is this? The byproducts of breaking down of food matter, of chemistry, because everything's chemistry. So when you break down or interact with chemistry, you create a lot of interactions, a lot of different chemical components are released, that sort of thing. Residues, all kinds of stuff form. So I would definitely probably go real small dogs. I'm talking about little bitty drops, but I'd probably do lymphatic 1 drop. I'd probably get a bottle, you know, and I'll use the herb bottle up. Get you a lymphatic 1, kidney 1, and say an endocrine gland formula. And start feeding that dog. I would get it, I'll put equal parts in 1 bottle. So say a fourth of a bottle of each one in there. When you give your dog the daily dosages, shake it up really, really good so all those 3 formulas merge to 1. And there's 3 formulas. So each formula requires, say, for a little dog like that, 11 pounds, I would say no more than a couple of drops. Maybe 3 drops on a dog, but try 2 drops to start with. 2 drops. Blunk, blunk. That ain't much. Maybe even 3. Blunk, blunk, blunk. Now, you've got 3 different herbs in there, so that's 3 drops per formula. So there's 3 formulas in there. That'd be 9 drops totally. You can put it in a little water, put it in a little dropper with a little water. You might take it out and make it in its own little container of sorts, and fill your dropper full and squirt it in the mouth. Because this is a lymphatic issue. Now, Chihuahuas like to eat almost anything, so hopefully your dog will like vegetables and fruit matter a little bit. Helpful. Told you this story a long time ago, but when I had health food stores way back in the late 60s, early 70s, there was a young lad in high school. I can't remember the dog, a golden retriever or something like that. It was a big, beautiful dog. I'm going to turn him to vegetarian. He came in and asked me, is it okay? And I said, dogs do better as vegetarians. Their hair does better, their skin does better. And so he did, and the dog was just so nice. So if you can, to a certain degree, you definitely want away from all the grains and all that sort of thing in foods. Anything you're looking for, at least some organic meat and veggies. So if your dog is a type that likes the fruits and stuff, by all means, anything that's of a fruit or veggie would be okay. Fruit may be even better because, remember, dogs have a less digestive system than we do. So they don't do well. Vegetables would be even harder for them than they are for us. And vegetables is really a herbivore food. Now, he has seen several vets. Yeah, you can't, this is the lymphatic problem, and it's easy to understand that when you understand the canine group is notorious for having genetic kidney weaknesses. This is, I've talked to breeders, I've heard this over and over, that canines typically come with genetically weakened kidneys. And you see that when you understand, when you see the bumps on them and stuff like this that they get, these lymphatics go up and down, they sometimes pop. So anytime you see infection or the word infection, you've got to replace that concept that medical doctors have put out there about bacteria. This is the most ignorant thing I've ever seen. And because they view bacteria as man's problem, they've hurt so many people by killing their systemic bacteria. So cell wastes have to travel through the lymph nodes to get to the kidneys or skin, and in those lymph nodes of yours are bacterium. And the reason is sewage. Sewage from the cells. Infection is sewage, and where does it come from? It's got to come from what you eat, drink, breathe, and what you put on your skin, or the byproduct of all this chemistry being metabolized and utilized by the human body. That's what's infectious, and infectious would be acidic sewage. Not bacterium. They're always going to act on sewage. Therefore, if you kill them now, it's like dentistry and antibiotics, and you kill the bacteria, you don't have anybody to clean you up here. They're just cleaning. They're just cleaning you. They're not attacking cells or anything like that. You have cells to attack cells. You've got bigger boys to go to handle that job. So let's see. Each one prescribed him cycles after cycle. Oh, by antibiotics and steroids, of course. Do everything, but go ahead and ruin the dog. I mean, this is what they just don't get. And I've always considered veterinarians smarter than medical doctors, even though they're medical doctors. And they are smarter. They've got to learn all the A&P of all the different breeds and stuff like this, so they've got a lot of head. But again, they follow those stupid kind of disease kind of thinking and autoimmunes and the whole 9 yards. So unless you're a veterinarian that has picked themselves up and understood a little more of truth, then you're pretty much trapped in that same type of thinking, and so you're hurting animals like you do people. But you know what? I mean, I don't mean that major negatively, but it's true. You can't treat. You have to understand where we're all going wrong with our consumption. Because if you blame outside of your lifestyle, you might as well go the medical route, because they'd be happy to make you think it's not your problem. Oh no, that's how they shine. You take the responsibility away from the individual, and we'll throw it out there to an autoimmune problem, to the bacteria. They're the problems. God's the problem. Nature's the problem. Couldn't be hand to mouth. Remember that movie, Spoon and Fork, or Knife and Fork, whatever it is? Some would tell us to clean his ears with cleaning solutions once a week, which did more harm than good. Yeah, because this is internal, this is systemic. Well, we could just put Drano down in there. That's like an oncologist. We could just pour Drano down there. That'd pretty much, this is just, I found out that dogs' ears should be left alone. No kidding. Sensitive. You don't mess with dogs' ears. Can naturally push out the wax like a conveyor belt. He's undergone a series of allergy tests. Well, immediately when you start going into these infections and into these things, it's a lymph system. But it would be, in particular with canines, because of their inability to sweat properly. So they only have kidneys and mouth, eyes. You know how dogs run on their face? These are elimination ports. And when they're eating the foods that are mucus forming or compromising to the lymph system, then they're going to have more oozing and stuff like that. The poor things, they can't sweat them out. The specialist thought it might be caused by environmental or food animal protein allergies. So I keep our house spotlessly clean, more than usual, for 5 years now, and he's become a vegetarian, good deal, of home-cooked meals since last December 14. Nothing is working. Well, yeah, let's don't get the home-cooked meals. Let's do as much raw as possible. You got to use herbs. When you get into the animals, I can tell you just about have to use herbs. Hard to do diet just on animals. You could on a dog, but you have to make sure that dog likes what you're going to give them, because they'll fast right off. Fasting might not be a bad idea for the dog, but I don't know. I would work on the kidneys, work on the system that he's having trouble with, and then you'll be free and clear, because we do this all the time with the dogs. And the other thing, of course, is tumors and stuff. Same problems. Infection is just a precursor to tumors. Why? It's the sewer system. It's the lymph system. And if you don't stop all this acid buildup and fix the eliminative organs, then this buildup will then lead into the suppression of all hearing, the suppression of all smelling, suppression of all seeing, suppression of all tasting. How many people out there can say they have a full, robust sense of smell? How about taste? How's your taste buds? See, all these olfactories and all these sensory organs must be healthy. So as we decline the human body, saturate it with acids and mucus, we suppress. You know, when your sinus is full, you can't taste or smell anything. That's the point. So guess what? When you clean all this out, guess what goes way up? Your sense of smell and taste and hearing and everything. Absolutely. I mean, way up. Matter of fact, remember I told you the story that when I started smelling again, and I say again because I didn't realize all those years of milk, I was using memory to smell things. I didn't know that. I mean, when I first started smelling a pine tree when I was on an extended orange fast, I freaked. That made me, I got so happy and I could smell. So I knew that the sensory organs were hooked to pleasure and happiness. And when they're suppressed with mucus and stuff, it erodes some of that happiness. And that man's eroded his happiness. So much so, he's got so trapped in the negative, they want to keep passing laws and negative. It's like, oh, we've got to stop that cycle and turn it around. I mean, it's going to go on as far as it can, no question. Last year he had ear surgery to partially expose his ear canals. Oh my God. You know, this is the insanity of allopathy, whether it's veterinary medicine or whatever. This is insane. Everything swells that is infectious. Everything swells that is acidic. Everything becomes edemic. That includes humans, animals. I don't care. Everybody has similar effects. So who got to do surgery to expose his ear canals? Holy crap, you'd have been better to use ear candles on him. You might try ear candles if the dog will lay there. That didn't stop the infections from returning. We did identify from the surgery that he was very narrow ear canals from his breed. Well, it's possible. It's also possible those ear canals are swollen. And it's just the nature of inflammation or acidosis. But nobody's addressing the cause of this problem, are they? And that's what becomes obvious with your questions and with what your journey has been through allopathic. They don't think about causes. I mean, I think they act like they want to think about causes, but they're so steeped in chemical treatment of effects that if you work from the ass end of the donkey like that, and you don't work from causative factors, you look at effect factors, you're never going to know. You'll never know the truth because you're looking at the ass end of the donkey. You're looking at the effect. How are you going to know the cause unless you know the body fairly well and you understand that? Well, you would think someone that goes to school this long would know that, would you? Well, then how come you can sit in front of an endocrinologist and almost shake your head in amazement how stupid some of these guys can be? I can be stupid too, no question, so I'll put myself in there. But I'll tell you that. If you're an endocrinologist and you've been to school 10, 15 years and you don't know how to cure anything, you wasted a whole bunch of money and you're hurting a lot of people because you're using hormones and steroids to treat. So it's just that sort of thing. So I invite all medical doctors to drop your practice and come with us. Let's show the world how to get well. I mean, really well. You'll get paid plenty. So try an ear candle if you want. Boy, I would. And anything like that. And going on this long, they start killing all these bacteria in these dogs. That's not good. Last year, prior to his vegetarian diet, he also developed a habit of eating his own poop. Isn't that amazing? Nasty. Jesus, crimey, nasty. And that's another thing. Well, if you haven't dewormed your dog, I'd use Parasite M in that mix just a little bit to see if you can't get anything out of them that might be of a wormy nature. You might do that, and their dog could have fungus, who knows. Question, why do dogs get ear infections? Lymphatic system, just like anybody else. Just like anybody else with ear infections, lymphatic system, kidney weakness. What kinds of problems are going on inside their body which manifest deterioration of the brain? Let's go on with that. You know, the Alzheimer's in the dogs, dementia early, cataracts. Don't forget you'll start seeing those in the eyes. I mean, just keep on going down that line. Not good. That's the same thing with humans. It's all acidosis, guys. Infection is acidosis, is sewage from the cells. I mean, you only got cells and you got two fluids. Where do you think the sewage comes from? There's a little bit from bacteria action in lymph nodes, but big deal. That's flushed right along with cell waste right to the kidneys, skin, boom, out you go. How can I help him? Well, just what we're saying. Can I detox him using your herbs? Oh, absolutely. And which ones? Absolutely is what I do. Well, because that's about the only thing when you get in the animals, the herbs. Here we go. The beauty, the incredible beauty of botanicals. I can't say enough about them. I have. I just, after all these years of what we've seen, and they're all well documented, so it's like, wow. They are the wow factor when you can't get the foods to do anything. Which, if you look at that, herbs are really vegetables for the most part. You got some roots and tubers, you know, and things like that, inner barks and stuff. But for the most part, you could classify basically herbs as vegetables. What might be the cause of his hot spots, ringworm, or poop eating? I don't know about the poop eating. I'll tell you that. Ugh. But the hot spots, the ringworm, and all that. You know, he's becoming a what's the word do I want to use for that? He's becoming a garbage place. I mean, you can expect all kinds of parasitic action in it because the more you back up, and of course, what's feeding ear infections? Okay, so what is an infection, right? So you know it's a lymph system, right? So you know every day, and what's a lymph system for? Well, one we know is to remove cellular waste. We've had a lot of conversations about the lymph system. Very important to understand that its job is to, number one job, remove acid cellular waste. Number two, of course, it's your main immune system. Because how you deal with damaged cells is through that system as well. You're understanding blood and the need for a proper blood pH, consistent, near that pH factor is vital or death is imminent. So when you look at that, you can't use the blood for anything. Anything that's of an eliminative nature, or you run the risk of changing that viscosity and that pH just instantly. So you just have to be so careful with that, and so has God separated all these systems into their own systems. The lymph is its own system. Now they do come together interstitially somewhat, but still, that's at the cell level. But it's simple to understand. You got to feed and clean cells. And when you don't, it's what you look at children. You don't clean them properly, the burn back to the skin is bad, and you can say, well, it's infection if you want. Again, ringworm, stuff like that. Hot spots, again, this dog's getting more acidic and more acidic and more acidic because nobody's addressing the problem except you. You're the one, the manager of this being. You're choosing to change his diet properly. That was smart. You're the only one here doing things for him, and I'm glad you emailed because this is good for animals and stuff. Absolutely. Are all problems here related to why he's having ear infections? All problems are related because of his kidney and adrenal weaknesses and the blow back to the lymph system, and exactly that. And the lymph system is your sewer system, so you can imagine ear infections, brain deterioration, it can be anywhere. Liver, bowels, I mean, this is what all this is. Polyps, all this stuff, tumors, this is lymph, this isn't blood. There's only two fluids except for water. And then outside of that, you got the cells. You got some bacterium in there. And then whatever type of chemistry you throw in through the foods or the dogs breathing in the air, that sort of thing. No question about that. Thank you, mango. Mango. Ooh, I like mangoes. I'm hoping my mango trees. Barry, let me tell you, when I get my first Valencia Pride, you're going to get it. God bless you for helping me. I help you anytime. Who is this? Kristie. Hey, sweetheart. Dearest Dr. Morse, thanks, honey. I love you just already. Thank you so much for sharing. You know, I really need your help. I am a 43-year-old female. So here's a 43-year-old female, weight 100 pounds. Holy crap. And height is 5'5". So just with that information, what can we surmise? Well, she's in for one or two reasons. She's either got hyperthyroidism, right? That's hyperthyroidism. You burn energy like crazy. You can eat 5 meals a day and never gain weight. Little buggy eyes, and of course your basal temperatures are going to be 98 something up there. Little tachycardia maybe, or at least a little higher heart rate. These sort of things like that. But Oh, thanks. Thank you, 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 love.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Weighed 100 pounds, what can we assume? But even if you didn't assume, these are the kind of assumptions that you can't go wrong with. Isn't that funny? Some assumptions you can kill a person with, but not our assumptions. You can assume wrong and it won't hurt them anyway, because herbs and foods are just that. They're foods, so they don't hurt you. I mean, they can, but you know where I'm coming from with that. But 100 pounds, the chances are malabsorption and or pancreatic weakness with that. The other side of this is 5'5", all right? So we would tend to be looking at her pituitary. So as we look, and as she talks about her problems, these are two things I'm going to be knowing to look at here. Here's my story into Hellville. Ooh. I had a really bad migraine in my left eye. I don't like that one right off. So she had a real bad spasming of the right eye, and I went to hospital. Ooh. The worst mistake, oh my God. The worst mistake I ever made. They did an MRI and told me they found a spot on my brain. After 24 hours of terror, they said they made a mistake. And it was nothing. That's scary. I went home thinking everything was okay, but woke up having a major panic attack. This sent me back to the doctor. Another major mistake. I was given a high dosage of Xanax, typical. Yeah, we'll just take care of you. Here's a little Xanax. Or here's a little Klonopin. He shut you up. Here's a little Haldol. That'll really take you. You know how I feel. And I gave him some Xanax, which I took for 2 months. I decided to quit taking Xanax cold turkey. That's when the real hell started. I went down to 75 pounds, heart rate was 120, my eyebrows fell out, couldn't sleep, and was in a high state of anxiety 24/7. That's why you don't take Xanaxes and stuff, guys. It's exactly why you don't. And of course, guess which gland was getting kicked? That's why the anxiety blew so bad. That was the adrenal glands. Of course, you know, you just can't play these games. And so, of course, these guys don't know any better. That was 2 years ago, and I'm still in bad shape. The muscles in my neck knotted up when I quit Xanax, and now I can't turn my head. It affected my shoulders and back, too. You know why? Because it shut your adrenals down. Shutting your adrenals down, then shut your kidneys down. Shutting your kidneys, well, it didn't shut them down, but, you know, it stops them from filtering and other things. So when you do that, then you don't filter. Guess what's backing up in you? All that naughty stuff like that, there's only 2 cells and cells and 2 fluids. So what could make you hard and naughty? The same reason you went to the hospital in the first place, honey. Same reason, acidosis. And you were spasming big time, that's what you got to look at. Why that migraine? You know, and getting up in your head area. So I'd go upper circumbrain and nerve. Before I keep on going, I'd go upper circumbrain and nerve. I want to tell you all a case. I'm going to share this with you because, and this is level 2 stuff. But I'm going to share this case with you because, and I don't think the mother would mind. This is a good mother, and I don't think she would mind. So I want to share after I read this, if I keep from crying. Whew. I think it burned my nervous system up. Well, you know, that's your adrenals controlling the autonomic. And so all that goes down. All that goes down. And I have been, there's that and been juice fasting for 2 months, eating fruit and melons. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be right on the diet side. Now, no offense, but I'd hit me a glandular of adrenal 400 milligrams. I would. Since you've been on that route, I would. You have to almost fight fire with fire almost. So even though glandulars aren't chemicals, but I would definitely go to a 400 milligram in New Zealand glandular. 1-3 times a day is what I would do. And if I needed more, I'd go more. But I'd do that just to pop up my adrenals with that. I'd hit my kidneys, my lymphatic system, get these knots out of here. That's all lymphatics. Now do those neurolymphatic points down your back. Hot and cold compresses on the back. Or hot and cold showers. Do those neurolymphatic points, start opening this up. Get your kidneys filtering and get your adrenals up. Get all this happening and all these will come out of the body. You want to do this or you will have a spot on the brain, no offense. But if you don't get those knots out of there, then everything, all the cell waste in the head ain't going nowhere. So now you're going to back up. Well, you know, that's a problem because now how does the body fight acidosis? Adrenal steroids, but your adrenals down. Uh-oh. So now that the adrenals are down, you're going to see cholesterol or calcium. Well, to have that bad of a migraine, it's possible that you're not utilizing calcium properly. And inflammation, taking away calcium, equals spasticity. You know, so that's possible. Just throw that out to you. But I would definitely get up upper circuit brain and nerve, number 2 for sure, at the very least. I'd get hit in my adrenals. Her anxiety is better now, but your fruits and your berries and melon, they're turning you on. It's helping to move your lymph system. But get in there a little more aggressive with the herbs. You'll clean all this out and you'll be good. Please advise me on which herbs to take and how to heal my body. I promise you I will do whatever you say. Yeah, honey, I believe it. I will never go to another. You see what I'm saying? They're creating their own blowback. That's all this is blowback. And it's just because karma is karma. You reap what you sow, cause and effect. We can no longer treat and be idiot about symptoms that people are having. We know the truth now, and it's up to us to get that truth to the world. And so, very important here. Okay, what else she say? Wait a minute. My chiropractor said there was a little degeneration in 2 discs in my neck. Please advise me on which of... Well, that's, again... This is why it's so essential to don't treat, eliminate, regenerate, detox, because that's what all these symptoms are. So get that out of there because, again, deterioration of the C-spine, deterioration of the eye, glaucomic pressure, MACD, brain lesions. I mean, you can just keep on going. Cerebellum, dizziness, equilibrium, flipping blood pressure, all these things like this is going to come your way, honey. And and they're not because you're taking care of it. So let's put that out there. You're taking care of this properly. And as you see what I'm saying, that's why I'm empowering each and every one of you to be your own docs. It's just because of the incredible state of affairs we are medically. And I can just tell you, I can't even tell you the things that transpire here medically about these oncologists continuing to give children chemo when the children are actually dying in front of them. They still can't stop giving them chemo, even though the children are dying. I would just give them more. I mean, if that isn't insanity, I don't know what is. If I was the sheriff, of course the sheriffs don't realize they have a lot of power. A sheriff in a county has more power almost than the feds. And he's tied to the Constitution. He has to respect it and live by it. Of course, they've made corporations, and they use the UCC, which is Uniform Commercial Code, which is not real law. It's color of law, blah, 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 yeah. They just don't know that. These cops are not taught the truth, of course. They're taught that they're distributing the law when they pull someone over. There's no law. That's the Uniform Commercial Code. And that's not law. But people, they want you to think it's law. I mean, there's just so much going on that way. All right, so let's see here. Here's my health history. Infant. Vaccines and flu, viruses, cold, given antibiotics. 10 years old, swollen lymph nodes. Aha! Aha! So here we're at. We're right at it, aren't we? Right here was your answer, right here. And no one saw it. And I don't blame, because this is the development of consciousness or awareness. It's obvious we've come out of a very unaware period on this planet. So get this, 10 years old, she had swollen lymph nodes underneath top of arm, red and filled with fluid. Biopsy done. Biopsy was negative. It went away on its own. As you see, that's the waxing and waning of your lymphatic system. Right there was your wake-up call. Actually, your wake-up call, well, I mean, you were starting with the vaccines and all that. 3, good health till this happened, but probably had adrenal fatigue. You hit it right on the head. Eyes are Eyes are hazel-colored, a lot of blue with golden color around pupils. Well, she did say golden color, so what's golden? You all know what's golden. That ain't brown. So brown is, she mentioned golden. So you either got, when you have hazel eyes, it's either brown or golden. If it's golden, what is it? Sulfur. So honey, you've got some, that's why you're 100 pounds. I can tell you right off. You must, is this the 100-pound one? No. Yeah, well, she got down to 75 pounds. Yep, it's 100 pounds. Well, I can tell you, malabsorbed right off. Sulfur in the gut. So you're going to have high fungal problems. So I definitely would start out with the first kit. That'll give you some parasitic work. And then either go up the 14-week way, which is a good way for you to do this, or have me write you one. It's all up to you. But I'm going after kidneys, adrenals, lymphatics. That's your core. You've been having swollen lymph nodes since you were 10 years old, honey. And you're 43 now. So it's like, oh. So we want to get those lymph nodes opened. Because if they're not opened, they could deteriorate. And we don't want to go there. So kidneys. What did you have genetically weak when you were born? Kidneys and adrenals. It's common. It's classic. She's 43 years old. You're going to see kidney and adrenals in almost everybody. I swear to God, almost everybody. But that's what I'd do, sweetheart. Go after that. Go after that lymph system. Get those adrenals with the 400 milligram. I would. More milligram adrenal, raw adrenal tissue, then I would go hard into the body. I'd go after and I have to say that I'd be looking at your thyroid, parathyroid, and pituitary because you're only 5'5". That's a good height, but I would I'd be wanting to know a few other things and looking like that because you've got some involvement up here. Now, we need to get that away from up here. That neck and shoulder and all that, nothing. I'm telling you, nothing ever good comes. You don't want to live with stuff like that. This is the lymph system. You got total cure. Even if you just went to fruits for 4 or 5 months and the herbs and got it done and went back, who cares? At least you fixed your problem. Okay? However you see what your future will be with that. We've had a young man, I think he's been under our care for 6 or 7 months, and diagnosed with leukemia. No, this wasn't leukemia. Well, I don't know. It could have been. His problem wasn't really white blood cells. It was all platelets. And his platelet count, when he came to us, was 2. Now, anybody knows about platelets. Platelets is how you clot your blood. So when you cut yourself, you don't bleed out. That makes your blood clot, then the wound is healed up and everything is good, you know. Platelets are produced in the bone marrow and distributed by the spleen. So this young man rode around with about 1,000 platelets. To give you an idea, you have to have about 200. Most labs are 200 to 300, 175, 180 so anything above 200 I like in platelets. 200 to say 400, 200 to 300, somewhere in there. However, when you start getting down below 100,000 platelets, these are all by the thousand, so when you get down below 100,000 platelets, that's serious and starting to really pay attention. But when you get down below 20, you can bleed out almost any time, particularly when you get down around 10 or so. You could never do surgeries or anything because you just bleed right out on the table. So this young man, when they give him a transfusion for platelets, it only brings it up to 12,000, but it doesn't hold. So he'd been running around with about 1,000. And so he had a stroke the other day, 15 years old, had a stroke and died, went brain dead. So we sent a carrier down here. Whew. To get upper circulation in brain and nerve because the doctors agreed to give him that. But it took us about 7 hours before we could get that to him. And I really wanted to see, because even though he was brain dead, the electricity of upper circuit brain and nerve. What are you doing? You're shoving oxygenated blood up into the brain. You're turning on neurons. So I was hoping. The thing is, I don't know. I think probably gave him down an NG tube, which would have been very minimally effective. I would have piggybacked it onto a normal saline drip and dripped it right in him directly. And you never know. You never know. But, get this. So, of course, after he had a brain bleed, you know, because again, he's running around with 1,000 platelets and they can't seem to get him up. Now, we've had him on our spleen formula, bone marrow formula, we've been hitting him. When you've been on our program for 6 months and you have a spleen problem or a bone marrow problem, you won't have it anymore. You won't have much of it anymore because it just regenerates and you're not going to be that way. Well, we couldn't get it to budge. Now, this is not my case, so I really wasn't really paying much attention to it until I got the call from the mother. I'd met him. And when I looked at the chart, we had him on everything that was to regenerate these areas. But it was tough. This young man wasn't regenerating. So after the brain bleed, the surgeon went in to release the pressure. After all that happened, his platelets soared up to 125,000. Now, he's still brain dead during this, or at least close. What do you think? I told his mother, who's beyond a sweetheart, I feel so sorry for her. She's one of us. And her attitude is just so sweet. But I told her, I said, you know what, this could be a revolutionary discovery. And not that something revolutionary to you guys in the sense that I've already been talking to you guys about neurological weaknesses relating to symptomology. Remember, this university in Canada discovered in testing mice that you can have a neurological diabetes by suppressing the autonomic. You can suppress beta cells or anything else in the body. But this is the CNS, the central nervous system. So, what do you think? I think that I will always give upper circuit brain and nerve when I see any even hint of something that is like that again. Because, you know, even though that might not, we all weren't even thinking of the nervous system relationship to platelets. But I can tell you there's no other explanation whatsoever other than CNS involvement in the suppression of platelets. Because even platelet transfusions wouldn't stick or do any good. Everything we hit for the spleen wouldn't budge it. Building the bone marrow wouldn't budge it. But a brain bleed did, meaning that brought in alkaline chemistry neutralizing what? Acidosis, inflammation and swelling. So that part of the brain, it's fascinating. We're going to do a lot more research on this, part of the brain involved. We're going to try to get that up there more for you guys. Sad stuff. But if this young man went out giving this world a good peace, so all I can tell you is brain and nerve. Don't forget the nervous system controls everything. And if you have any doubts, put them on brain and nerve or upper circulation or both. You know, really go out for that. What an extreme lesson. You know, helps us to become more serious practitioners, more greater in our scope of understanding and our ability to help someone. And that nervous system, a lot more to that than meets the eye, no question. Of course, we all know without the nervous system, nothing's alive here. Nothing can respond or relate or move or nothing. So interesting, just interesting. Sad case, but very, very interesting. And I think that this could really help us to help more people. So nothing's ever for naught. God, there's a reason for all of that happening and in our face, and especially with what transpired with the central nervous system and all that, just incredible stuff. So sad stuff, but I think some really good stuff could come out of that and helping so many people where we wouldn't have thought of the nervous system controlling these areas or not controlling these areas or suppressing these areas. And now we're seeing more of that. Remember I told you about the case of the female that went in after hurting her knee. For some odd reason, the surgeon couldn't fix her knee. 4 surgeries were required, which is, I don't get that, but okay. The 4 surgeries. And after the 4 surgeries, she came out with type 1 and she quit menstruating. Remember we talked about the propofol effect, Michael Jackson effect, of how that shuts down the nervous system. Well, you can't, the beta cells, all these functions are not neurologically controlled. Of course, neurotransmitters, the autonomic, the adrenals, the hard drive up here, the central nervous system. So this is all just good stuff for good practitioners to take in and to use on others to help them. That would mean that this young man gave of himself so we all could get better. Ooh. Ooh. Hey, Paul. Doc, why would calcium citrate not replace vital calcium to reverse depression from a chemical standpoint? Well, I think, I don't know. I mean, it's less of an isolate than just pure calcium, I agree. But still, the bioavailability of these forms of calcium and magnesium and stuff are on the low end of utilization. Minerals are generally at the low end of utilization. Of course, the more bonding you see in a mineral, of course, the better utilization that you see. But I guess if you had a good parathyroid and an adequate amount of parathormone, maybe you could see an upkick on that. Because you can take calcium and you can take gelatin capsules. Women do that all the time for the fingernails. And they do strengthen up. And then when you stop taking it, they go back. So it's obvious that it's a treatment-based thinking. And I would think the same thing with calcium citrate. You might see a symptom go away with it, but will it hold? I think it's better to get your calcium synergistically bound, because I don't believe that we are scientifically smart enough to understand why chemistry is so bonded, why the ratio the way it is, and the effect each of those ratios must have in that ratio percentage, and why they are to each other the way they are. You know, why is arsenic a nutritive as a distant cousin, as a microtrace element, but say as an element it would kill you right off? So there is this tremendous repertoire of chemistry in the world that all has its ratios and it all has its needs and effects. And for us as at this level of human awareness, we're not even close to even figuring that. We don't even have we don't even have adequate healing systems on this planet yet. We don't have enough good physicians to ask the proper questions. You guys are the great physicians of all times. You don't have to go to academic school to become a great physician, by the way, because as you noticed, allopathically, they're struggling to understand truth. And therefore, there's so much harm being done under the guise of trying to help man, because they set themselves up for this. Allopathy, you guys set yourself up for this. Not you individual docs, but this whole consciousness of the Rockefellers and the whole thing. It's all set up. That whole thing. So you're just getting a blowback from that. That's all that is. You set yourself up as true healers and you heal people, you'll get a different blowback. So I would think that I would rather go to a calcium bonded with magnesium and the whole bonding things, because there could be interactions and needs that we don't know about or see. But with that said, I can't imagine you not utilizing some calcium citrate, but I definitely would be filling holes with it, to tell you the truth. If you're going to drill a hole in your tooth, fill it with calcium citrate. Disease, thanks, Paul. Diseases. Bobby. Hey, Bobby. That's what they used to call me growing up. Bobby's like, oh, my name's Robert. Dear Dr. Morse, first I want to say how much I've learned from... Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that, Bobby. Is this a female or a male? Because there's Bobby females. I wanted to find out if it's possible to cure these three diseases. Oh, my God. Thalassemia? What's that? Gauchers and motor neuron Gericks. Well, similar to the Gericks. I mean, you've got on there. From Bobby from South Africa. Well, I'd have to look up these other two because I'm not familiar with them, but Lou Gehrig's is something we always have total success with. You know, so anytime you're in a neurological situation, Bobby, you remember that it's always all fruits, berries, and melons only, and you're going to go with upper serpent, brain, and nerve with that way on the central, and you're going down to the adrenals on the autonomic. Always, always, always. At the same time, you know what brings tissue down, whether it's neural tissue, muscle tissue, doesn't matter, is acidosis. And you also know that acidosis is controlled by the, what? Lymphatic system. So if I said this to you, as diseases, these three cannot be cured, I would be accurate. As diseases, these three are not curable. Because there's no such thing as diseases. And if you're going to use them as diseases, they're incurable because no one can cure diseases. And if you try as a layperson or as a naturopath to cure diseases, they're going to come after you and arrest you for practicing medicine without a license. Because when you're treating diseases, you're practicing medicine. Medicine is the only place where we actually believe there's diseases. I mean, it overflows chiropractics and massage and everything else because we buy into that story. Quit buying into made up stuff and buy into truth. Everything is ran by chemistry and physics, plain and simple. Cause and effect, nothing outside of that. That's how it's ran, cause and effect. So if you interject the word diseases there, that means cause and effect. Nah, has to be something out there radically, and they do that, and everything's cause and effect. And it's all chemistry and physics. So whichever of these three, but the Lou Gehrig's, we've had plenty of things with. I've never had Gauchers. What is Gauchers? I think I've never heard of that. I'll have to look these up. I'll get back with you and let you know on those, or whatever they are. Don't know them all. There's just too much. And my focus hasn't been on diseases in so many years. I mean, when you go to school, they kind of teach you that kind of stuff a little bit, but naturopathic school is a lot different. Not into disease thinking, especially if they're teaching naturopathy. That's not what you want to learn. You don't want to learn diseases because it's a ludicrous. You're learning what's unreal. You want to learn what's real. You want to learn chemistry, physics. You want to learn the chemistry in the food you're eating. You want to learn the chemistry of your body. That's what you learn in naturopathic school, or you should be, and that is the chemistry of everything, and also the physics and how physics controls chemistry. But you don't see much of that anymore. It's all about diseases and the treatment of diseases with vitamins and minerals and calcium citrates and crap like that. It's okay, you can, but if you want to cure, then you want to fix and rebuild and clean out. Now, first of all, for your videos, I hope one day to offer me your book, the Detox Sourcebook, in French. It's being done in French right now, I think. We've been going around and around, but I think it is now being printed in French as we speak, I hope, because I'd really like to learn more. I do speak English. I try to learn. Thank you so much. Wow. Ask a YouTube question. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that question or statement. Let me see who this is from. Not a member. Let's see. Contact submission. Oh, this is Derek. Hey, Dr. Morse. Hey, Derek. General health inquiry. Oh, I was recently diagnosed by a doctor with inflammation of the stomach, specifically my ascending colon. Oh, wow. Gastrointestinal, huh? Food has not been moving properly. Ugh. I've been very constipated and bloated, and at times it's difficult to pass gas. Any advice at all would be greatly appreciated. Oh, thank you, Derek. Yeah, this is, I don't like to hear stuff like that because, in today's world of the GI tract, that's stomach to bowels, but actually it should be called mouth to butt. But, when you have inflammation, know immediately inflammation is from acids. I mean, you can just about, to keep it simple, to keep it straight, you could say that. Now, you've got two forms of it in the stomach. In the wall of the stomach, in other words, the tissues that make up the stomach itself, that's made of cells, right? And so, where you have cells, you have blood and lymph. Where you have blood and lymph, of course, you have the feeding and cleansing action of the body to the cells. When that isn't happening, as you know from these videos, and you don't filter anymore from those kidneys, you now start getting the blowback to the cell from its own sewage. This is a constipation of another level. This constipation is lymphatic constipation. It's the worst kind of constipation because that constipation blows back to the cell, burns the cell, and now you have a mutated cell. To a point, though, that cell is protected by phospholipids in the wall. Phospholipids has a base of HDL. That's high-density lipids of cholesterol. These are protection. Cholesterol is a lipid that's protective to the cell. Essential because there's so much waxing and waning of chemistry constantly from acid to base that you have to protect the body. So the body has its protective devices. You got your corticosteroids, you have your cholesterols, your oils, you have your electrolytes. So you have chemistry that's always in flux, balancing and rebalancing itself as ionization, oxidation, as you see the proton-electron movement syndrome. So, you've got to go after your kidneys and adrenals. Now, there's one that reaches into interstitial acidosis, which could cause gastritis, Now, there's another burn obviously, and that would be a hydrochloric / pepsin burn. That burn would happen if you're low in pancreatic bicarbonate. So I don't know what to say about it. Stay away from all protein. That's the number one thing. When you have inflammation in the gut, I don't care whether it's in the colon, because they've already diagnosed you with the colon. So basically what they're saying to you is it's all through you. It's all through your GI tract. Because they're saying you have inflammation in the stomach, but they also see it in the colon. It's all through you. But it would be. It would be, because this system we're talking about, the lymphatic system, is systemic, meaning it's all over the place. So when you're not filtering it, if you see a tumor develop in your breast, it's just a matter of time. You have one on the lung, you have one on the neck. I got one case right now, she's got it all over. Tumors popping all over. It's just that they have a whole system down. And you can't treat just the tumor or take out a lymph node and compromise. This is baby stuff. You have to understand the body and what's going on with it and the systems that are down, and fix them. And then you're good. You're good. And you go on with life, and you're really well. It's possible with food not going through fast. It's possible, one, your adrenals are down, therefore your peristalsis is low. Because remember, the adrenals produce neurotransmitters that affect the autonomic, which controls peristalsis. Beep, 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 beep. Now, you also could have real hardened bowel walls from the lymph system backing up in the wall there. You could get a real thickened, hardened wall, which then would also impact proper peristalsis. So all those things. The clue here is they see some factor in the colon. That would lead me to believe it's not a hydrochloric acid, like a true acid reflux, that this is interstitial burning out. This is the kind of one you want to fix, my friend, because this is the kind of one that leads to their C words, because it's going to burn the cells and the stomach wall, which is the cells, right through. And same thing with the colon. That's why you see colitis, and you see Crohn's, and you see all these things like this. This is all a product of lymph and acidosis. What you see, there's nothing else out there. And this is just what you see. And it can mutate, it can swell, it can thicken, it can thin, it can destroy. As it does. And well, you don't have to look too far to find the truth. It's just hiding right behind the curtain. Just right there. So, I'd probably have a colonic or two just to see what the colon therapist thinks and what she sees or he sees, and see the shape of your stool and everything. But you could have strictures or restrictures, spastic bowels, prolapse bowels, where your bowel goes real thin or sags down. I mean, you can have all kinds of problems there. So I'd say this. Check the parathyroid, make sure that your fingernails, everything looks good that way. And the reason I'm saying that is connective tissue integrity. Get those GI tract, the connective tissue. Therefore, if you have a narrowing of the GI tract, it'll pull itself straight as you move down this road. I definitely get on the herbs. That's what I push because they're so great. I clean up my GI tract with that. But you want to definitely go after the kidneys and adrenals and the lymphatic system. Uno number one. Go after the GI tract. That's number two. This is a closed circuit, closed net right here. So go after all those with herbs. Your diet's going to be raw. I mean, the diet is always the same. For me, it's fruits, berries, and melons when you detoxify. When you're not detoxifying, then it's fruits, berries, melons, and salads. That sounds good. You're going to eat and you get to enjoy things. That's what you were telling them in class, Ian. I crave fruits. I crave taste. I crave delicious things. I know now what doesn't taste good. And that's how you would do that. That gas, of course, is suggesting that you're not properly digesting your food, so I could come back to the pancreas and say, maybe he has a little hydrochloric acid problem or bicarbonate problem because he's getting a lot of gas, and that this could be undigested foods, in other words, fermentation. So you could look at that. Now, I tell you the best answer, and I don't mean to jump at this, but the best way to know for yourself what's happening to you is these. The irises. Take a picture of your iris and take a look at it and see for yourself. That's where all the truth is exposed. How interesting. And we expose it to the world, don't we? So work with that and get on these herbs and get yourself cleaned out, get on the diet there, sort of thing. Cool down that stomach. If you have to on the stomach side, you can get the Heal All capsules. The stomach and bowel capsules come with all the kits and stuff. They're all anti-inflammatories. Marshmallow, slippery elm, all these types of herbs. You can even drink them as teas to cool down that stomach, but and you sounds like you got it all through the GI tract. So a little more power to the punch. Go to the cause, go to the kidneys and adrenals and work the lymphatic system that way, and then go to these other structures and start using herbs to fix them up. To Dr. Morse, after I saw your video about my question in my last email down below, I ordered the herbs for pancreas and took them, and after 8 days my digestive problems were gone. That's pretty good. Thanks, honey. That's a good testimony. Is that a girl or I better be careful? I'm bad as I get older here. Oh, no name attached to this. Keep working on that. Work on your kidneys and adrenals. You know, you always work on, you want to play and work with herbs. They love you. So work on your kidneys and adrenals. Get your kidneys filtering. Get your lymph. You can never go wrong. The healthier you get, the longer you'll live here. Yeah, that might be a problem with that. But you'll be able to consciously learn how to go when you're ready. I'll put it that way. We're gone, and I could eat bananas and mangoes again, but since 2 months I am eating more bananas and dates because they are cheap. And in the evening I eat salads. But since 1 month I have itching on my whole body without skin irritation, sometimes red skin. Well, you're probably just now seeing detoxification because the pancreatic formula is not a detoxifying formula. Most of these formulas for specific tissues, you could call the pancreas a specific tissue, which is simply made of cells. Cells make up tissues, which make up organs and glands, or other structures, like muscles and bones and everything else. The itching, though, that's fungus, and you're going to see that because raw foods are anti-parasitic. So that's, again, remember I tell you how raw foods are self-cleansers, they also are anti-parasitic. So, you know, you're just stirring up your fungal beds. I'd probably put myself on Parasite M and, get in the kidneys and adrenals and keep working on that detoxing. Sometimes you might see a red skin if it explodes. So if you go slow, it might not explode like that. But that's just normal stuff. I have also more acne. There you go. Yeah. You know what? That's just under your skin, subcutaneously is under the skin. This is areas hooked to the lymph nodes again, like the kidneys. So this is all about elimination or non-elimination. When you don't eliminate well, then fungus comes in because there's always, well, you have fungus and bacteria because you have proteins and you have carbon. You have nitrogen issues and carbon issues. So, it just tells you got to hit your kidneys and adrenals. It's acne. Right there's the story right there. Get your thyroid up, make sure you sweat good, get your kidneys and adrenals, get yourself filtering and get this lymph cleaned up. Get all the skin stuff done. Get it all done, get the itching all done, get that all done. Because you know it's a lymph system that's backed up in your pancreas. Let me see. I have also more acne as always a lot of hair loss and my skin is so dry. So hair loss, because what's hair loss? Acidosis, and hair is hooked to the brain. So as you get all built up with acids in the head and you start losing your hair, you start losing also your brain power. So you get foggy brains, and then you get the eye problems, and then you get, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. There's no stop till death of the experience you can have with this. Some of the worst when it's the nervous system because all kinds of flashes, moons, stars, who knows, you know. The skin is dry because you're super dehydrated. That shows extreme acidosis. But that's, that's what you're going after here. Mostly on my face and hand. I use coconut oil. That's what I'd be using. Either coconut oil or grapeseed oil is more nutritive even than coconut oil. I'd be using grapeseed oil or coconut oil. But that's just going to help you as an anti-inflammatory. That's not going to clean your interstitial. That's not going to get rid of anything. That's just going to treat inflammation. You want to get your kidneys filtering so you can remove the built-up acidosis and hydrate yourself interstitially where everything again becomes hydrated and nice and sweet again. And you it just takes moving of lymph. It takes getting that lymph system filtering again and moving this. And I have less energy. I am tired. Where are you going for that one? Right back to the adrenal glands. You could have some thyroid here too, but the adrenals are the most responsible for fatigue, obesity over the thyroid big time. But you can have obesity and fatigue with thyroid and low energetic levels, but that's only because it goes right back to the adrenals, because again, the pituitary controls thyroid, adrenals, and all this, and has it turning on and off when needed. The thyroid controls the rate of your digestion, the rate of metabolism. So we have in hair analysis that what you've heard, fast oxidizer, slow oxidizer, that's hypo, that sort of thing involved in thyroid stuff. I have a long interval between my periods, about 40 to 45 days. So this is a female. I don't know what to do. Well, that would be, see, you got everything going on in the face, right? Everything's going on in the face. Where in the head area controls your monthly cycles? Pituitary, you're right on, sweetheart. Go after your pituitary. You could go after it this way. Use the female reproductive formula for about 2 months. That'll tone the ovaries in the uterus. It'll turn on the pituitary. If your cycles have not leveled out at any time soon like that, I would go to a pituitary glandular and maybe spend maybe 1 bottle up there. Now, in iridology, we know that this transverse bowel is the feed here. So you want to clean your gut up and get all this so this can drain down. So you want to clean. It's just stacking up on you. It's just stacking up on you. And when you're full, then tumors start popping out because you're full. The cup is full. So now all these things start popping out everywhere on you. And it's just that simple. And you can reverse that by simply reversing the cause of this problem. And that's the lack of elimination of cellular waste, acids, through the lymphatic system. And that all is controlled by kidneys and skin. Let me see. Yesterday we went to a doctor. We made a lot of allergy tests and the like. Always it shows that I'm allergic to grasses, trees, house dust, cat hair, dog hair. I have a little cute dog. Flowers, nickel, rye, latex. Why waste your time? Because there'll be a day you get allergic to everything. Then you have to go into a bubble. That's if you listen to them. But what it is what? Your sewer system. This is just another hands-down sewer system problem. Get your sewer system cleaned up, sweetheart, and you'll have all this go away. Although I cured my asthma, I have still a lot of allergies. Okay, she's giving us more clues, isn't she? This is more clues. Asthma. What is asthma? Or the COPD. So it's not just congestion in the lungs, is it? What is the big thing about asthma? Adrenals. Adrenal glands, your neurotransmitters, it's your adrenal glands. Let me tell you something. And your GI tract, it's all hooked together. So you really have to get in. And we're right on point. If you trace this out, you'll see we're right on point. Get your kidneys and your adrenals up, get your GI tract cleaned up, and all this will clean right up. This is right at where you're talking about. And take a parasite in for a while. I have to take antihistamine medication for itching now. You know, if you're not careful, get yourself in trouble. It's time to stop itching by using this sort of thing. This isn't an anaphylactic shock syndrome. You're full of fungus. You've got sulfur. You got this is full of, so you've got to get your lymph system. And I take parasite M for a few months. Get back this fungus down. You'll quit itching. But go full bore. Even if your skin explodes, who cares? Go full bore. Get in there and get this lymph moving. All this will clean itself up, and you'll be on the other side before you know it. Hellville to Wellville. The doc told me that I will have this allergies forever. Did you believe him? Did you buy that story? Because if you bought that story, let me smack you on the hand real hard. He can't do anything about it. So from his viewpoint, you're going to have it forever because he can't or she can't do anything about it. We got to learn not to talk that way medically, don't we? Because if you don't, someone else is sure to. So making a blanket statement like that one is typical medical. And this is because they think that's a narcissism again. They're the only ones. And they don't know crap about health. I mean, this shows that elitist narcissistic mentality that really makes itself look stupid in front of the populace. But you can't see that. And that's the trouble why I say keep your egos checked. Stick them in the corner. Keep them checked. Because sometimes they creep up when you don't know it. So what should I do? Jump in, my dear one, and detox. I also do brain and nerve on your case, and I do upper circ on your case. Brain and nerve because I increase that nervous system response. That'll help you breathe better, even though you said you've cured it. But enough to say, you're still in trouble with the gland that's causing it, because I see what you're saying here. And I have atopic dermatitis. Again, name game, name game, name game. You have extreme backing up of your lymph system, no question. You have acidosis and dehydration interstitially, and a lot of fungus to caboot. Check and see if you have that golden look in your eye, because if you have that much itching, you could have a lot of sulfur in the body. So make sure, look at your eye. Even the brown eyes, you might be able to see a little orange in there. I think I have thyroid problems. It's possible. I'll check your basal temperatures under your arms. You know, can you see this on my eye? Well, you know, Chris isn't taking off the ice too much anymore, because we want you guys. It's just time, getting time to help all of you. If I can do my part that I'm here to do, is to help educate you guys on looking at your own eyes, then looking at your children's eyes, then looking at your husband or wife's eyes, then looking at your mom and dad's eyes, and playing with this, and learning. It's such a simple, easy, fun science. You've got so much narcissism and separation here that everything is so tough here. It's like, get this out of here. We're all one. We all come from the same source, same source. We got a lot of religions that like to name God different names, but it's the same creator. I am not losing any weight on the raw food diet. What is wrong with me? You're probably, from what you're telling us, you're really acidic. Don't be too surprised if you're not holding a little water here too, sweetheart. You're not getting edemic. You know, you can hold. Remember I told you about the lady we have that can gain 5 to 10 pounds of water taking a shower? That's extreme dehydration. And what side of chemistry is the dehydration coming from? The acid side. What system in your body deals with the acid chemistry? The lymphatic system. And what eliminative organs is tied to that one? Kidneys, adrenals, and skin. Nothing wrong with you. You're the beautiful one. There's nothing wrong with you. Your physical body needs to be a little reworked a little bit. Nothing wrong with you, but your physical body is. Now I am about 15 months on the raw food diet. Oh, is this something different? Now I am about 15 months on the raw food diet. I cured my asthma with a lot of green juices and salads. I thought about to reduce my banana consumption and dates also. Maybe I am allergic to these food, because since 2 months I eat more of this fruits. I eat around 8 to 10 bananas and 5 dates every day. Well, if you need that for your body, that's okay. That's about what Ian's doing. My main problem is that I live in Austria, and the fruit are here very expensive. For example, for a mango from Costa Rica, I paid from $4 to $8 US. Holy crap. I know, guys. You know what? My heart goes out. You know, Barry was over here from California. He said, my God, your food sucks over here. I said, no kidding. It's horrible. Florida doesn't know how. No offense, I love Florida. This has been my home all my life. But I'm going to tell you something. We don't know how to grow food. We've lost that ability. Of course, I know all the growers out here, watermelons and stuff, and all they do is race to get them out, so they're the first to get them to market. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. It's just, there's no thought about quality. I don't know what to tell you. You know, we're all struggling to find good food. That's all I know. I don't know. I think it's a sad state of affairs. This planet is a sad state of affairs, but it's not our. It's all in the works of God. But we can make a difference. Maybe not in my lifetime to see massive differences, but certainly in yours. So I do believe that we can put the power where the power is needed, you know, and bring some upliftment to this, and hopefully get some of these countries' heads out of their own asses, where these governments will help their people instead of try to. But I'll say this, think about greenhouses and growing your own fruit trees and stuff like that. I don't know what else one can do. Organic tomatoes is $6 per kilo. Bananas are cheap, dates too. Well, that's where I'd go, but they're not great detoxifiers. That's one of your problems you're going to face. You need more watery fruits, like your grapes and your oranges and stuff like that, if you can get them. If I eat less bananas and fruits, I will always be hungry and not satisfied. Like I said, I think you ought to go through a nice detox program. Go through the kits, deworm yourself, do all of this. Go with some of the advice we were talking about. Can you please tell me what should I eat? Berries are here so expensive, 125 grams for $5. And grapes are not organic always and not ripe at all and also very expensive. I don't know what to tell you. You just have to use what you can. If you have to go to the green drinks, by God, you have to go to the green drinks. Do your very best. If you have to go to things frozen, maybe, go to frozen juices. If you can find frozen, not pasteurized, at least try to find frozen nut from concentrate. I mean, everything's a step down, no question. You get to try to do your very best. Should I eat on a low budget as a student in Austria? What should I eat on a low budget Austria? Well, if you didn't have some of these friggin' problems, then you could sprout yourself. You could buy alfalfa sprouts or alfalfa and sprout them. Sprouts are real cheap. Alfalfa is going to be the best nutritive sprout for you in terms of nutrition because of the power they hold over all the other sprouts. But you could sprout your life, you could green your life and stuff, and then add into whatever fruits and stuff and dates, figs, whatever you can. But you got some problems here that you got to fix. You might be able to do that with herbs and green drinks. You might be able to. I'm certainly going to give it a try. And then whatever fruit you can slip in, that's what I would do. And thank you, Austria. Oh, this is Denise. Hey, Denise. That was my second wife's name, Denise. Can you help my friend? This is what my friend wrote to me. I'm dealing with AF, hypo and T, leaky gut, candida, parasites, H. pylori, autointoxication, heavy metals, EBV suspected, histamine reactions, low dopamine, GABA, and some of the more severe genetic defects. I am booked in to see a new doctor to see if he can find out why I still can't tolerate any supplements and many different foods. I've tried treating leaky gut, liver congestion, genetics, adrenals, pathogens. Basically everything, and no doctor has had an answer as to why my system flips out over minuscule doses of anything. Can you help him? Thank you so much in advance for listening. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so here's the gig. When I don't want to sound like a broken record. You know, that's the one thing, so please excuse me, but the body is so simple that you generally have one system that's involved in all of these type of symptoms. And which system might that be? That's what these videos are all about. And again, if I'm a medical doctor and I'm a lymphologist, then I'm going to tell you the same thing that I'm telling you right now, except I can tell you how to fix that. And I can tell you more about that system. But you're talking about the lymph system. You know, and how does that augment and change genetics? I mean, we've been talking about that for how many videos? How acids mutate cells, that augments the DNA and chromosomes, and it affects methylation, it affects all kinds of things, which then in turn will affect the consciousness of that cell. And you're only going to learn deeper if you come to class, or this new Level 2 videos and the new Level 1 videos will soon be out. And I have explained creation, how creation's made, and how that helps you to understand consciousness of cells and genetic remembering and that whole 9 yards of that. Not voodoo, it's easy to understand. Once you understand how you're put together and where you come from and how you're using this physical body, why the emotional body, the mental bodies, learning all this is very beneficial. Really helps you. But here's the thing. you have to always start with dietary changes. Always, always, always. Now, when you have someone whose lymph system is so bad that they respond to any little thing, then you have to go real slow. Real slow. I would suggest even this slow. Get some Heal tea. Now, you'll want a muscle test. Learn to muscle test. And muscle test him on anything you give him herb-wise. Or any. I wouldn't even work with supplements because now you don't want to go that way. You want things that'll be effective. I would start with the more gentle herbs for him. That would be endocrine gland, kidneys, because a lot of times where someone tests bad on some of these other things, they test good on the herbs. Herbs are special. Once in a while we muscle test weak on a formula, but as a rule, not often. If you're that bad you can't use any herbs, then you have to use diet. And here's how this goes. If you have to start with, I don't care who you are, you have to eliminate all animal products. If you go back to them, who cares? I certainly don't care. I'm not a purist thinker anymore. I understand death, I understand all that. But it's enough to say that these are the worst foods that a Homo sapien can consume, is eating of other animals and other animals' milks, in any configuration thereof. Whether it's yogurts, kefirs, it doesn't matter. You want to eliminate all dairy products, all animal meats. You want to eliminate all beans, all grains. These are the must-dos, the must-eliminates. So he's got to eliminate these foods. And if he eliminates those for a few weeks and just stays on salads and steamed vegetables and maybe a fruit or two here or there, maybe a fruit morning you could get by with. A little of the time, get rid of the salad, replace it with more fruit. Or replace the salad with green drinks instead of a salad. In other words, break in deeper and deeper into the purest forms of food. Take out the fiber, that sort of thing. Slow, small amount, super chew here first. You want to go after kidneys, adrenals, and the GI tract minimally. That's your main immune system, that's your lymph system, that's all allergies, that's everything that you can imagine that you experience negatively. You can't experience blood problems negatively because you just can't compromise the blood. But the lymph you can compromise all day long, and of course, it's a slow, painful death. At least with the blood, you're out of here quick. All right. Now, also, don't worry about genetics, and don't listen to these medical doctors. Oh, you're stuck. You can remember cells genetically, but you have to plug yourself into consciousness. You have to plug yourself into physics. You have to plug yourself into the right focus in terms of enlivening and regenerating and invigorating the human body. Because you have to invigorate the human body. And it's just his body's just full of sewage. So you can have all these problems. Low T, is that low thyroid or low T cells? Leaky gut, candida, parasites, H. pylori. That just shows it. All these things like H. pylori and all this stuff. Again, you just have to realize terrain. You offer up a culturing medium, you're going to culture parasites. This is the way God works. It's actually working in your favor. But medical doctors have so warped man's thinking that we blame God for this. We blame the parasite or parasites. I will say bacterium in this case. Now, yes, we can have tapes and worms and hooks and pins, and yeah, you can have some that, especially the bigger boys, not real fun or friendly. Yes, that's a problem. But, bacterium, virals, fungus, these are all involved in the process of regeneration of life and how we get to atoms and how we reuse atoms and stuff. So we have to lift ourselves up and understand creation instead of blaming it. So all these things you're talking about, all very fixable stuff. If you can't get someone to fix this lad up, there's a problem. And of course there's a big problem on this planet, an inability to fix some lad like this up, or anybody like this. Any of you guys should be able to fix this guy right up. So the more we all learn, the more I can educate you. You guys will be fixing these cases up where nobody else can, because they're walking down the wrong road. They're looking at the wrong view. You guys are looking at the correct view. I am booked in to see a new doctor. Why? You're going to run into the same crap you always do. The same crap. Basically anything, and no doctor has had an answer. Yeah, you will... those things are, none of those things are difficult. None of those things. But where are you going to start? You start cleaning up the person. First of all, you got to get them to over the hump to be able to tolerate raw foods. When you have someone that can't tolerate raw foods, what does that tell you about the toxicity level of the individual? Whoop, way up there. So, that's a problem, and you've got to back that out. So you got to get the kidneys working. So you try with herbicide, you try those herbs that are focusing on the problem, kidneys and adrenals. Even if you have to use a glandular muscle test, their body will tell you if they don't want it right now or they can't tolerate it right now. Some things, that is not an anaphylactic shock, the narrowing of the throat, the brushiness, some things are not anaphylactic shocks. They're just the body eliminating. So sometimes when you go on raw foods, you're not having a negative reaction, you're having a positive reaction, although it appears to be a negative reaction. There's plenty of that. And a lot of you guys, especially you younger guys with the skin problems, see the blowback in doing that. They'll blow back on the skin. So again, it's cleaning the tissues out, getting yourself hydrated, all these things like this backs up all these symptoms. Everything goes strong, clean, healthy again. And some people have never experienced that, ever. So you got to go in, and you should never, you have some people, remember we've talked about this before, you have some people that can't even drink water. That's how acidic and inflamed their gut is. Well, you get yourself that way, nature's going to put you down. It's going to fast you because you can't take it in. You throw up immediately. So it's going to fast you until it fixes or you die. So you see what I'm saying? There's a simple way to take care of all of this without going too strict into the fasting side of this. There's a way to fix all of this and come out robust and healthy. Dear Robert Morse, I would like to know what is the relationship between salt and the kidneys and adrenals. Well, sodium-potassium pump. What should one do with salt cravings? That is your adrenal glands. And that is important. That's a craving that you have to listen to, I think. So get a glandular, because when you're craving salt, I'd use a glandular. Now do your blood pressures, both sides. Check. Top number, systolic, adrenal glands. So check your systolic on both sides. See where you're at. If you're below 120, I definitely would pop on the 400 milligram adrenals from New Zealand. If you're a little high blood pressure, start with the 200s. Then as your blood pressure goes down to normal or below, then pop with the 400s. But that's what you're doing. You're craving salt because your sodium's being interacted. Sodium, potassium, adrenal sodium, kidney potassium, basically. Give in or resist. Resist! How does salt influence detoxification? Well, you want the proper sodium balance, right? Because what happens if you don't? What do you start holding? Water. You don't want to do that. You don't want to bloat up with water, because then that affects hydration and everything else, and that could cause congestive heart failure, could squeeze your lungs, squeeze your heart, shortness of breath, could create an MI out of that, stroke maybe. That means you'll start swelling and pulmonary edema, stuff like this. So I wouldn't do salt. If you're going to do a little salt, I would do the Celtic, real, or Himalayan. That's full-bodied salt. You have your traces, you have your minerals, your traces, and your micro traces. I'd use that. And I'd just use a little pinch on something. But in reality, I fix my adrenal glands because that's what's really needed. And if you get too inorganic of a minerals, your charges are not going to be what you would like. Your electrical charges are with the energized food, fruits, berries, melons, veggies, stuff like that. Also, what about a regular salt intake? Is there a minimum daily salt? I wouldn't take it at all. I've always been against, your greatest fan, love. I wouldn't supplement salt, to be honest with you. I'm not good at supplementing just salt, because then you throw your potassium off. And you can get the full-bodied salt, at least won't have that much of effect doing that. But if you use table salt or sea salt or something like that, which is basically sodium chloride, even sea salt's basically sodium chloride. So I would be a little careful with that. And you could create alkalosis, I guess. If you weren't careful. But thank you, Mike. Thank you. Love you. This is Wildor 777. I have read that some cases of schizophrenia can be lack of folic acid, and spinach and other green leafy vegetables can be helpful. Well, I don't know how to say this. I don't want to say that it sounds wrong that chemistry doesn't play a role in this, but that's not true. But I would take more after my endocrine glands and think about more hormone and steroid problems. Because you always want to go in the body and think digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. You always want to look at those 4 processes that's essential to your wellness. Am I digesting my foods properly? That's going to be stomach. That's going to be pancreas specifically. That's going to be gallbladder, first part of the small bowel even. So you've got a lot going on digestively in that first part of the small bowel and stomach area. Absorption. Absorption means that the pathways to the capillaries through the villi of the small bowel are open, not packed with mucus and lymph stagnation. So you can absorb through the villi into the capillaries and onto either the liver or where else you're going. Mostly it goes to the liver first. And this is true lymphatically and of lipids. So you want to address all those issues. Make sure that you're also utilizing. That means that your glands are healthy. Most of your symptoms can be traced to steroids, hormones, and things like that. Once you learn, you only have a few glands in the body, just learn what they produce and what they're for. Easy stuff. Just spend a small amount of time on it and you'll be savvy. As savvy as about you can get. Folic acid, I don't go in that direction because another acid, of course, but I don't go into that direction of that in schizophrenia. I would use flower essences to buffer while I'm involved, but I'd go after adrenals and parathyroid gland myself, and I'd get the fungus out of my body. Those are the things I would. But you can do some green drinks and stuff like that if you want, but definitely deworm and fungus yourself. Turn on the light in the endocrine glands. Get your endocrine glands up, your adrenals up, all of that. Get your lymph system cleaned out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how that's going to change you. I really do. Oh, here's James. I like your picture, James. What's the best way to move the lymph? Rebounding? The best way to move lymph, I have to attach more than one word to it. Because I don't know if I can give you one word meaning and how do you best move lymph. So I'm going to say this. Filtration, hydration. Filtration, hydration. Get the body hydrated, because in a dehydrated state, fluids dehydrate, dry up. That's why people feel dry and feel burning. That's all extreme dehydration. Okay, that's acid, and that's an acid experience. And that experience comes when you lose filtration. And filtration comes from the kidneys and the skin. So the skin filtration is going to happen when your thyroid is in good shape. If you're hypothyroidism and you're cold, hard to sweat. So it's hard to open up that pathway. Urination is assured except filtration. And that's what we've been after, is check your urine. Remember filtration. Filtration, make sure you see sediment in your urine. That's essential. If you see clear water out of a septic system, have a feeling that you're going to see some problems with that system, right? That's like throwing sewage into your toilet, flushing it, and only water comes out of your sewer pipes. Something's stuck somewhere. So, hydration, filtration. Go after the kidneys and adrenals, that's filtration. Go after your hydration with fruits, berries, and melons. That's high electrolyte food, high energetic food. High electrolyte food is essential to proper hydration because you're dealing in acidity. So you need electrolytes. You need the females. You need the ladies to come in and deal with this. Rebounding, remember what I said about that? I'd be real careful. Make sure you're filtering before you rebound or you're going to fill your knees. You want to filter before you make that an outer activity that's trying to move lymph. You have to move lymph smartly. It has to be hydration and filtration first. Then you could add tools. You could add your wands if you wanted. You could add your rebounders if you wanted. You could just walk, swim, yoga, stretching. Yeah. All of that's obvious. But there's some things you have to do first to have a pleasant experience. Or by hips, by knees, you know, all these things that all the athletes are experiencing by pumping acids, and no one's telling them. I only got 15 more minutes. This is Claire. Also, do you have any advice for college students for how to go raw vegan? Well, you obviously can't eat anywhere on campus per se. I don't know. It depends what school you're at and what's around there. Indiana University had a lot of places around there that were moving to raw. What do you recommend for calcium? Kelp isn't really available to me. Well, any of your seaweeds would be. Any of your seaweeds would be. Second up on the platter, let me think. It's probably going to be your greens, I suppose. I've got a book here, and it's Composition and Facts About Foods. It's by Ford Heritage. That book is old. And it's got the facts and composition about foods. So it tells you all the levels of calcium in all your foods. You might be quite surprised. If I had this, and since I moved, I don't know where all my stuff is. But if I had that right now, I could grab that and show you exactly all the foods high on this. As you get down to the fruits, you're the lowest part of calcium, no question. But if you get that book, you'll be shocked at the difference of sea vegetables and common garden vegetables, where we're at with the calciums. Majorly different. So it's an eye-opener to show the most foods. But when you get into your greens, your carrots and stuff like that, you have more calcium. When I had a health food store, I sold calcium tablets made from carrot juice. That company didn't last long, unfortunately, but I couldn't sell calcium citrate or the other calciums because, again, poor utilization, but calcium from carrot juice, that's just carrot juice. So that was good. That's the only thing I can tell you with that. In terms of college campuses and stuff, I don't know what to tell you. First, you have to understand what raw vegan is and go in that direction. I would say that be careful with the nuts and the seeds and things like this. You can overdo them, and these are proteins. Sometimes people come into this field and they want to go raw, they want to do this, but they're bringing some of the misunderstanding that they had in their other diets into this field with them. It's like when you enter a new field like this, you almost have to come bare naked, strip bare, and you walk right in, and you learn everything new from the first ground up. And sometimes you have to do that. So I don't know, you just work yourself into that. For college students, especially the young people, you young guys have the ability just to snap and do this. Us older people, sometimes we have to go a little slower, but when I'm in my 20s, you didn't tell me twice. Boom, I'm done. You want me to go on a 10-day grape fast? Done. That sort of thing. So that's what I advise. Get strong at going after yourselves and eating raw and things like this. Knowing that raw is far superior than anything possibly cooked or processed. I mean, that would be quite ignorant to think that something cooked or processed has better for you than something nature makes. That would be something I would expect the medical doctors to say. No offense to the good ones, no offense. But that would be something that the dietitians would say. Dr. Morse, hello. I'm a 19-year-old female. Wow. I get hiccups every day after meals and just randomly during the day. I usually get one or two at a time, and they're almost really loud and obnoxious. Once in a while, they sound like squeaks. I've had this for a few years now. Well, the first thing I would do is clean up my GI tract. That's the first thing. But with that, you're going to get the kidneys and adrenals, because you want cleaning everything up doesn't mean just topically, so to speak, on the wall. It means interstitially as well. But I would go after that. I'd do the GI broom, the stomach and bowel, and really go into just a few kits anyway. The next thing, I would watch how I eat, and I don't breathe when I eat. Be careful about bringing in oxygen when you're eating, because it sounds like me like you could be breathing while you're eating and swallowing oxygen as well. So be careful with that, because that'll do it too. Also, eat slower, chew better. Super chew. Chew your food slowly. Check your eyes. See if you have a pancreatic weakness. Do you have any undigested foods in your stool? You know, make sure you relax when you eat, you digest slow, you don't breathe when you eat, things like that. You know, a lot of people breathe in when they eat. Also, clean up that GI tract so you don't get any fermentation off the wall. Those things have always stopped them in the past, so that should do it. I went to my doctor at least a year ago, and she said that I get hiccups because of playing wind instruments. There's no way that's true. No, quit it. I've been in band all my, well, not all my life, but, you know, I grew up playing trumpet, the organ, and the 12-string guitar. So, wind instruments, my sister was a wind. People up here, I knew a lot of wind players. Of course, she went piccolo after that. She went clarinet, then piccolo. But I've known saxophone players, and they don't get hiccups from that. This is, again, they're stupid things. I still don't know why I have these hiccups, and they're really starting to annoy me. They don't bother me when I'm trying to sleep or anything. I also have a closed lacuna at the top of my left eye. Okay, at the top of your left eye, where? What? You know, when you write me in things like this, guys, give me the time. Give me the time where this is, because the eye is a clock. Give me the time. I have a closed lesion, or I have a closed lacuna at 10 o'clock, left eye. That'll tell me immediately where that is. That doesn't mean you have a problem in that area, but I would have to know where upstairs you have that lacuna. But 19 years old, learning how to read the eye. My hat's off to you. Love you, dear. Good job. Learn that eye. Learn all you can about this. Get your body cleaned up, because at 19, you're going to have some genetics. You know, clean all that up, and you'll be way down the line. I love to see this. I have attached a picture. Well, Chris isn't getting my pictures. I don't know. I'm so sorry about that. I can talk to him about it, see if he'll just leave them attached so I can look at it real quick. Because I just need to see him real quick, because I'm having a hard time getting to all your questions, and I think the questions are more important right now. Now, in time, I'll put more iris lessons on, but I have to keep some for the school. You know, I have to have some source of that. Well, try these things and let me know how you do. The things that we talked about here, try those things and let me know how you do. But that's cleaned them up in the past. I don't think you're going to have a problem with that at all. Remember that lady was hiccuping on the news, constantly hiccuping? I wanted her. I wanted that case, but I don't know what happened here. This is way too long for me to read right now. Let me see. Who is this? This is Susan. Hey, Susan. Consultation appointment. Oh, well. Message. Please help me with the correct diet for my 14-year-old who has ulcers inside and out. Oh, from Beckett's disease. She is not on any medication, just herbal supplements. So, again, what system would have the greatest potential to ulcerate tissue, and what side of chemistry? Right on, acids. And of course your lymph system is where you see ulcerations. Especially if it's a burn from the interstitial out. Oh, these are the worst. Because these are serious stuff, you know, it's through the tissue itself. So I'll say this, I'd stay away, since he's ulcerated like this, I'd definitely stay away from your acid-forming foods. That might bug him a little bit. I would take that subacid category. And the subacid category, that's your grapes, your apples, your peaches, your pears, your mangoes, and things like that. I would also work on his GI tract, make sure what he's eating is base chemistry. Get to those kidneys and adrenals. At 14, you're going to have kidneys and adrenals, hands down. If you want to, get a flashlight and a magnifying glass and look at his eyes. But you want to get that lymph system moving. Because if this is the burn from the interstitial, which it most likely is, this is serious stuff. And you really want to get your son's lymph system filtering and moving, because this leads to nothing good, you know. So definitely work with that. At 14, you just have to, all I know, guys, is honesty, especially with parents and children and stuff, because you've got a crazy world right now. They, 10-year-olds have their own language. 14-year-olds have their own language. And I've tried to keep up with them because I've had kids and grandkids, and I tried to keep up with the modern lingo of the kids, because if you don't, you really get separate. When you look at, say you're a young person, a 19-year-old raised by your grandparents, you're definitely going to experience a different life teaching than it would be from mom and dad. So as you lose touch with the young, you lose communication skills and stuff. So I always like to keep that as much as possible, because everybody develops their own lingo. But it is difficult for a 14-year-old to change their diet. But there are some things that are essential that they do that, at least temporarily. So however you get them to understand that. Make foods pleasurable by making fresh applesauce with maybe raisins and cinnamon or something. Make creative dishes like that that's good tasting, because that's what it's about in the first place, is the taste anyway. So make things that are tasty, that are of a vegetable and fruit and berry and melon origin, because you tell this young man that ulcerations can turn into cancer, so we must stop them. And so we have to do a little changing for a little while, but then we can go back. So that's what I would do. But go after those kidneys and adrenal glands. You need the steroids. Go after that lymph system in your young man here. Do it by dosages, Susan. Now, we have a burn salve for ulcers. So if it's a topical one that you can reach, use a burn salve on there. Really healing to the ulcerated tissue. Who do we have here? We don't have any. Well, C. Alexandri. Attention, baldness. Baldness. Hello, I am French. I am 20 years young, and I am depressed because of my hair loss and acne. I was here again, another 20-year-old with hair loss and acne. This is so happening everywhere. It's vomitous. So many young people are suffering. Hair loss in your 20s, that's serious stuff, lymphatically speaking, guys. So we're back to the lymph system. Just think how simple this is. When you see negative experiences, you can almost take it to the bank that it's acidosis. It could be alkalosis, rare. It could be. That'll correct itself the same way acidosis does in bringing in base-balanced food. And base, meaning chemical base, alkaline balanced food is food that is balanced to the base or alkaline side. That's basically, there's some exceptions, obviously, but that's basically your fruits, your berries, your melons, and your veggies. They are pretty much base balanced. And again, there's exceptions because of hybriding and everything else, and those are the ones we don't really push, like your nightshades and stuff like that, your eggplants, your tomatoes and stuff like that. That's a little more to the acid balance. But that's what you want to get into, is getting your kidneys and adrenals going, because when you see skin problems, it's just skin problems. Oh, they lead to things so much worse. Fibromyalgia, systemic arthritis, and lupuses and Lyme's. Forget the microbial thing. You're into systemic acidosis. These things are painful. These things are mutative. I can't even say enough about. So, upper circuit, brain and nerves, what I'd be doing, that'll get more blood flow up into the hair area and the head area. At the same time, I'm going to my kidneys and adrenals, because I know I'm after my lymphatic system big time here. I would like to have advice for this. I do not speak and does not understand English, so it's very difficult to play your videos in YouTube. I am so sorry about all of that. I wish I could make a difference. I am writing the thanks to an internet translation. Can you advise me to write after I translate, because it'll be easier for me? Let me make Chris look at this. Let's see if Chris can help you on this. Which promote food? Trampolining, it's a good idea for lymph? Well, good. If you're filtering from the kidneys, okay. If you're not, no. It'll just break down your knees. You've got to filter your acids out. If you're going to go create activity that increases your acids in the body, you have to understand that it's vital that you remove acids. If you're not removing your systemic cellular waste in the first place, and you go out in activity level and increase the production of acids by the cells, and you're not removing just normal day-to-day acids, you see where I'm going with this? That's the quickest way to break down knees and hips, form tumors and things like that. It's just to keep creating more acids. This is the time to create the opposite. Rest, relax, eliminate, hydrate, those things. Make messages hair with apple cider vinegar, nettle, good idea. Not going to be effective. This is a systemic problem. This is inside of you. So upper circ, brain and nerve will be good for that. At the same time, move lymph, clean sinuses. Get your GI tract cleaned up. Get the bowels cleaned up. Get your kidneys filtering. Essential to stop this. You're only 20. You don't want to have dementia problems, brain problems. You don't want to be bald. And if I'm reading this right, this is a female, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll make sure Chris looks at this. I have time for one more. Let's do this one. I have a fence when they're too long. It's just that if I have plenty of time, I don't mind reading them when they're longer, but when I'm trying to get as much answer, the long ones, it just takes too long. But the information is good for everybody, so don't stop writing them, but it might take me a while to get back with the long ones. My name is George from Scotland. I've been following your work for nearly 3 years. Oh, well, I watched every one of your videos. Thank you, bro. Love you. Appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, and I hope that it's done you well. Believe it or not, it's amazing. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope it helps you, because that's what they're for, is to bring you into the love thing. I love what you do, and I've learned so much from it. Thanks, my friend. I've been working on my health through fruit and veggies eating, one of the 3-day fasts, and using your herbs and herbal teas to much success. Good, because that's when you have the appropriate focus, you have the appropriate response. And therefore, you achieve what you're going after. You're just now learning the truth about things that are very simple, we should already know. But what's happened is our intellectual community has pulled truth out of this scenario and have scarred it with propaganda to the point where people don't know the truth anymore. So we have to stop that. What is what is. And when we scar things with propaganda and untruths, that affects a multitude of people, and very bad karma for the individual. Imagine affecting 1 million people's lives in the negative. Ooh, I wouldn't want the blowback from that. Sorry. No way. Anyway, this is not about me. It's about my father, Robert. Oh, wow. He will be 74 in 2 weeks. Wow, wow, wow. A few months ago, he had what they called a chest infection. He was experiencing a lot and also developed some fever and flu-like symptoms. Instead of promoting expectoration, he was given antibiotics. Well, you hit it right on the head right there. Instead of promoting expectoration, which is something that would be common sense, wouldn't it? If you're congested, the common sense thing is to decongest. But instead, you treat. So here's the problem. They check for staph and strep. Well, most people have that bacterium in them already. But they blame pneumococcus. Well, 40, 50% of the cases, there's no pneumococcus even present. So if you blame, say, pneumonia on pneumococcus, it's got to be there every time. Every single time. Because that's the cause of the problem. When it's not there half of the time, nah. So then it leads you back into, then what is the role of bacterium? Could they be helping me to try to break down this mucus and sewage that I created? Yes. All right. And having a fever and a flu-like symptom is just what you said. It's just the thing you need. Just the thing the body goes through. It's an elimination symptoms. It's expectoration symptoms. You hit it right on the head. This George is smart. And this is just what you want to, this is what they have to understand. You don't stop elimination for the sake of treatment. Later at a medical check, his doctor found a few spots in his lungs. Further tests indicated swollen ganglia or lymph nodes. Now they're prescribing him with interferon, suspecting he's developing cancer in the area. Interferon, huh? That would be something you give someone with Hep C, maybe, or cirrhosis. You also want to go ahead with a biopsy. What's your opinion on this interferon protein treatment? Just ask people that have had hepatitis or cirrhosis or anything like that what their interferon treatments led. Nasty, sucks, doesn't cure a thing. I mean, this is all just stupidity. They got to do something. So I feel sorry for a lot of medical doctors that are good guys and gals who want to help people that feel frustrated in their field because of this crap. So come join us. That's what we're looking for. Looking for all of us practitioners to become one. Then you talk about a smile on your face, because now your heart, your mind, your emotions are all tied in together, and therefore your movement will be godly and forthright, and therefore their effect will be rightly and forthright and godly. Of course, symptoms went away. Yeah. Later, the medicine has some spots. Now they're prescribed. Okay, now here's the thing. I would get into, remember, these spots are all burn spots, and they're all coming from acid. So the best thing to do is get onto the kidneys and the adrenals and get in the lymph system and get that moving. Next thing you get moving, of course, with that, you're going into the GI tract, right? I'd also pop a lungs too with that. Let that start expectorating and working on the lungs. We have a 3-lung tea. Have him start sipping on that. Don't overdrink it, but just start sipping on it throughout the day. These are all lymphatically loosening herbs, if I could say that. They're hardened. You know, when you get years of lymph congestion and mucus in the lungs. Now, a lot of this isn't just lymph congestion. A lot of this is mucus from protein consumption. Dairy proteins are, we've just had this conversation on a video last or two, how mucus-forming dairy products are. And these dairy proteins are extremely mucus-forming. Well, you know, the lungs can fill, the bronchi can fill, the sinus, we all know that to some degree or another because we've all experienced mucus discharge or mucus congestion at one level or another, so we're all familiar with that. It's just that when you start detoxifying it, it's a mucus discharge of that which has built up from all the foods that you've been eating that has been corrosive to the body. That's all that is. So you're going to have fevers to promote elimination. You're going to have your thyroid kick itself up a little bit. You're going to have blood flowing quicker. You're going to have the body trying to eliminate and clean itself. I mean, these are fundamental principles of the human body. If you call yourself a doctor and you don't know the fundamental principles of the human body, there's something wrong with this picture. Then you become the #1 killer of humans on the planet. No. He's got a history of skin melanoma. Well, you know, what he has is a history of lymphatic problems and kidneys not filtering and stuff like that. That's what creates melanomas. They're all lymphomas, guys. They're all lymphomas. They're all the lymph system. Whether basal, squamous, whatever you want to call the type of cell or the type of cancer, it doesn't matter. They're all lymphomas. They're all of the lymph system, and they're all from acidosis, not alkalosis. So, same thing. You know, you got to get his skin opened up. You got to get elimination going on here. He's been suffering from high blood pressure. Where do we go for that, guys? Swinging high blood pressure, here, right? But generally high blood pressure, where are we going? kidneys and adrenals. Kidneys in particular. So what are we controlling with the kidneys and adrenals? The lymph system. See how this is tied together? It's all tied together. He has some tissues down he has to fix, and he's 74, so you would expect him to have kidneys down, right? Right. If you're 70 years old, I suggest you work on your kidneys, because that's the one thing that kills you, is kidney failure. And that leads to congestive heart failure, which kills you, pulmonary edema, which kills you, all the other kills you. Oh, and many years ago, he had prostate cancer that was treated with radiotherapy. Oh, crap. He's lucky he has well, he might have some good genes. But, you know, pelvic-wise, femur-wise, gonadal-wise, prostate, you know, it can destroy these tissues. So he could have had a blowback in there to the kidneys or something on that. But you just have to go in and make healthy now. Who cares? Go in and make healthy and make well. He's been suffering from high blood pressure for half his life. There you go. And his cholesterol is high. Well, then this is somebody you want to, this is your father. If he's had high blood pressure and high cholesterol problems, this is a stroke and heart attack waiting to happen. You can probably take a picture of his eyes, see the white cholesterol ring, and you can probably take that to the bank. So you want to protect your dad. Circulation upper, circulation lower would be what I would immediately do. Upper circ and lower circ. With the 74, I do brain and nerve in there to energize and turn on the neurons. Then I'm going after I'm going after the lymph system, right? I'm going after those spots on the lung. But I'm going after that high blood pressure. Cause the same thing, right? The same system, the same body parts. I'm going into the kidneys. I'm going after his adrenal glands. That'll take care of the blood pressure problems. That'll also begin the hydration and the movement of lymph. That'll begin the spots disappearing. See where we're going with all this? Upper circulation will keep blood moving into the head while you're removing lymph, which will remove the cholesterol plaquing. Because this is a dangerous case if you're not careful, because of the things you're saying here. Obviously, he gets medicated for all these things. Well, you know, I don't know where your dad is on these things, my friend, but you just have to work with it, whatever. I talked to my mom, and she gets me and asks me to help her try convince my dad of not going ahead with his madness. Well, you know, some, especially the males, no offense, especially the acids, hard to change our minds sometimes. You get a good slap upside the face with a 2-by-4 does it sometimes. But it didn't the first time with the prostate cancer. Let me see. As you know, everyone around him, like friends and family, believe he should listen to the doctors and catch the cancer early. That's how they destroy these people. This world is crazy, isn't it? It's so crazy. You see why you're important and why I say these things, because when you get a good look at truth, and you get a look at this world. What is the best reasonable approach to someone like my father who puts all his faith into the medical community without realizing his health issues keep coming back and getting worse? Well, George, the wife could probably do this. By changing his diet a little at a time, changing his diet, say, honey, we're going to change our diet a little bit. I'm going to get myself healthy, and I want you too. I think your mother's going to have more influence than you probably. The wife grabbing by the ear and say, honey, you're going to listen to me now. And say, try this, sweetheart, and get him on about a month of, let's say, fruits for breakfast, a nice big salad for lunch, and maybe a light supper of fruits, or maybe a little salad and a green drink or something, or whatever you can, maybe some steamed vegetables to satisfy him in some way. Try to put him on a little month. See, Dad, we're just going on a month of a program, pull your high blood pressure out. Get him on a few herbs, get him on the endocrine glands, maybe the Fab Four. You know, the bowels, the kidneys, the lymphatic, and endocrine gland. And just step back and let that work. Let that work. That should begin to lower his blood pressure. That should begin to start all these things. But when you do this, watch, because he is on medications for these things. And of course, it's easy to get rid of high blood pressure. So just watch that, because he can't be on meds and dump him into hypotension. So, you know, work that way. And the best way you can, just a little at a time, baby steps if you have to. Some people can't be changed, no matter how much you love them and how much you try. They just don't want to change. I love you guys. You guys are the best. There's so much. There's so much planned here, so much going on. We're just going to step back and let you guys run. Because I tell you, we can get more done this way. And as you guys see, I'm loaded with questions of seriously hurting people. I just wish I could get to all these. But I'll attempt to. I'm going on a little sabbatical for a couple of weeks, but I'm going to try to come in this weekend. Tomorrow's Mother's Day. No, that's Sunday, but I'll try to come in. I think I'll come in Mother's Day and try to film some. Try to get you a bunch done before I have to leave here. But I love you guys, and don't ever, just remember always, if you have something you can't figure it out, always detoxify yourself properly. Always clean out the body and rebuild it. That cleans every problem you have out, gone, and now you're at well, Bill, with the rest of us. Love you guys. Take care of yourself. May the blessings be. Rock of a shot.